In much of contemporary evangelical circles, there is a widespread emphasis on immediate and decisive action when it comes to one's faith. It's as if the call to discipleship has been boiled down to a simplistic mantra, akin to the famous Nike slogan, "Just do it." Believers are urged to make bold declarations of faith, to trust instantly without hesitation, to rid themselves of doubts, and to assume that transformation is a matter of willpower and compliance. While well-meaning, this approach places undue pressure on the believer and overlooks the profound, transformative process that requires more than mere determination. It is not human effort that brings about spiritual renewal. Rather, the real catalyst for change lies in experiencing God's mercy and grace. True transformation in the life of a believer is not something that can be achieved through sheer willpower or an immediate decision. The evangelical culture of "just do it" often presumes that believers can simply switch their thoughts and behavior with enough effort or resolve. But this neglects the complexity of the human experience and our need for something deeper than outward obedience. The heart of transformation is a work of grace, not a task list of do's and don'ts. Human beings are not automatons, mechanically programmed to carry out the commands of faith without struggle. We are living, breathing creatures, shaped by our experiences, emotions, thoughts, and the imperfections inherent in our nature. To tell someone to simply, "just do it," to believe harder, to obey quicker, to be better, is to ignore the intricate and often painful journey of spiritual growth. It's not that obedience and faith aren't important, but rather that they are the fruit of transformation, not the cause. True transformation is a gradual unfolding that happens in the presence of God's love and mercy. It is in recognizing God not as a distant taskmaster but as a loving parent that we begin to see real change. A loving parent doesn't demand immediate perfection from their child. Instead, they guide, nurture, and support their child through their growth, offering grace when they stumble and celebrating their progress, however small it may seem. This is the nature of God's relationship with humanity. He is not standing over us with a checklist of expectations, demanding that we meet each requirement immediately or face rejection. Instead, God offers grace and mercy, understanding our weaknesses and failures. It is within this space of unconditional love and forgiveness that transformation takes place. The pressure to be the ideal Christian often stems from a misunderstanding of God's character. If we view God primarily as an authoritative figure who demands perfection, we will inevitably feel the weight of failure when we fall short. This can lead to feelings of guilt, shame, and a sense that we are not good enough. But when we see God as a loving parent, we understand that He desires relationship over performance. He is more concerned with the posture of our hearts than with our ability to flawlessly adhere to a set of religious standards. Mercy and grace are not just theological concepts, they are the lived experience of God's love in action. When we accept that God loves us despite our imperfections, we open ourselves to real transformation. It's in those moments of grace, when we recognize that we are loved not because of what we do but simply because of who we are, that the desire to change becomes genuine and heartfelt. It's a change that flows from love, not fear. This is why the process of transformation is often slow and marked by ups and downs. It doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen because we will it into existence. It is God's mercy that meets us in our failures, and His grace that empowers us to keep moving forward, even when we fall. As we grow in the understanding of God's deep love for us, we are gradually transformed into the people we were created to be. This process can be compared to the way a plant grows. A plant doesn't grow simply because we tell it to or because we will it into growth. It grows because it is nurtured, watered, given sunlight, and allowed to develop over time. Similarly, a Christian's growth and transformation occur when they are nurtured by God's love, watered by His grace, and given space to grow in the light of His mercy. It is a process that takes time, patience, and trust in the gentle guidance of a loving God. The evangelical tendency to emphasize immediate, decisive action overlooks the truth that spiritual growth is a journey. The transformation God desires for us is far more profound than outward obedience. It's not about ticking boxes or achieving milestones of spiritual success. It's about becoming more like Christ, which happens not by striving but by resting in the truth of who God is. When we embrace the idea that God is a loving parent, we begin to see ourselves differently as well. We are no longer spiritual failures who need to work harder to earn God's favor. Instead, we are beloved children, already accepted and loved, regardless of our shortcomings. This realization is what ignites real transformation. The pressure to perform is replaced by the joy of living in the freedom of God's love. Real transformation, then, is less about what we do and more about what God does in us. It's not about striving to be better or doing more, it's about opening ourselves to receive the love, mercy, and grace that God offers us every day. It's about trusting that God's love for us is not conditional upon our performance, but that it is constant, unchanging, and available to us even in our weakest moments. This is the good news of the gospel. That transformation is not something we earn, but something we are given through God's grace. The more we understand and accept this truth, the more we are able to let go of the pressure to just do it, and instead allow God to work in us in His own time and in His own way. True transformation is a partnership between us and God, where our role is not to force change but to remain open to the work He is doing within us. It's in this place of trust and surrender that we experience the real and lasting change that evangelical dogma so often tries to rush. If this resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share.